Hey everybody, it's John Michael Bailey, John Michael Bailey Injury Lawyers. Today we're going to be talking about ligament laxity. What is it? How does it affect you now? And how it can affect you for the rest of your life. And most important, we're going to be talking about what the insurance adjuster doesn't want you to know. Lots to learn. Stick around and here we go. Hey everybody, it's John Michael Bailey Injury Lawyers. As I've said before, I am a lawyer, been practicing 45 years, but I'm not your lawyer unless you choose to hire us, and we would be delighted to help you, and you can begin that process by following this link right here. Today, we're going to go back into what we were talking about in the last video and just elucidate a little bit more about what we were talking about. And we were talking about ligament laxity. Now, just so that everybody knows, I've written a book. I actually wrote the book on the mechanics of a collision injury, and this is where all this comes from. And in this book, it's available on Amazon, but you don't have to go buy it because as soon as we finish this series of videos, we're going to be doing a series of videos on this book. And we're going to go through every single crash scenario with 4 people in the car, and we will tell you where you're going to hurt. That's right. Once you understand the mechanism of the collision, you can determine the mechanism of the injury. You understand the mechanism of the injury, then you know where to look for the hidden injuries. We're essentially following this book right here, which is Hidden Injuries. Now, this is an ebook. It is available right now. You can download it for free. Just go to the website. Again, follow this link here, and it'll take you to where you can download this book for free. Doesn't cost anything either. Just download the book, and we go through the top 10 hidden injuries. Now to ligament laxity. Well, what exactly is ligament laxity? Well, you will hear a doctor, or you can see it in medical records, they very rarely call it ligament laxity. They call it hypermobility. And what that means is that the ligament is stretched beyond its normal shape. And because it's stretched beyond its normal shape, the body functions and the body systems that ligament or that tendon is attached to, they don't act like they're supposed to. They wobble, they move. This is why after a wreck, if you've had a whiplash, which is this is a spine, which is a hyper extension, which means your head and your neck go away like this and stretch all of this here. And then it comes with a hyperflexion, which means it comes back here. So remember that the ligaments and the tendons, they're the levers. And I'm not trying to get into Archimedes and all that kind of stuff, but there is a lot of physics to this. Your ligaments and your tendons are the levers that operate the processes of your body. Let me use my arm as an example. If I extend, there are ligaments that pull and move my arm out. If I flex, okay, that's the flexion, like you're making a muscle on your bicep, like, guys will sometimes do. Anyway, so that's what the hyperextension and the hyperflexion is. It is an abnormal stretching of your ligaments here cervically, and it's also an abnormal in a whip motion, whipping back and forth motion. It is a hyperflexion of your neck, which stretches all of this in here. Now, why is this important? Well, all of these ligaments and all of these tendons, they each have jobs to do. When God designed and caused our body to be formed the way that it was a marvelously, it's both simple, but it's also complicated, but it's a wonderful machine. So each ligament and each tendon has a job to do. And if that ligament and that tendon is stretched beyond its normal shape, and remember, that never goes back to where it was. It stays stretched forever. So that is a lifetime injury. And for that lifetime injury, you deserve and you require a lifetime of compensation for it because you're going to hurt forever with it. How many people do we know that will say, my neck's never been the same ever since that wreck? Well, that's not in their head. That's in their neck. That's really true. It's because their ligaments can't do and their tendons can't do what they were designed to do. Now, ligament laxity goes throughout the entire body. In other videos that are coming up, we'll go through the shoulder joint, particularly the rotator cuff, because that's very prone to injuries for people that have the strap coming over. The driver, the left rotator cuff is often injured. People don't know to associate that with the seat belt. And on the passenger side of the car, it's the right shoulder. And again, they don't think to, hey, wait a minute, maybe my shoulder pain is related to that accident. And they don't realize that until it's too late. The insurance company has gotten them to settle for pennies and peanuts, and now there's nothing they could do. So let's all learn this together and share this knowledge so that people don't get taken advantage of. Back to ligament laxity. As you can see, all up and down the spinal cord, these little things right here represent your nerves that come out and to each one of these vertebrae and attached to the muscles and the tendons of the various processes in your body are ligaments or tendons. So when you stretch all this, you have nerve roots that get irritated and inflamed and cause continued pain. If you ever heard somebody say, oh, well, I'm getting these shots in my back for the pain, that's an innervation where they actually go in and give a shot to deaden that nerve. They don't fix the pain, they just deaden the pain. And that's why they never work. And eventually they stop working because the body gets used to that. And so then they suffer from chronic pain. Again, a hidden injury, but one that likely came from the trauma sustained in the wreck, and you deserve lifetime compensation for that. It's a lifetime injury. So all of this can be causes of continued pain. So just so that everybody knows, when we go through this little lighter colored area up here, that's your cervical spine. That basically goes from your collar up. Down below is your thoracic spine. We don't usually see damage to the thoracic spine unless there's been direct blunt force trauma, but that can happen, and it does happen. And in slip, trip, and fall cases, it happens a lot, particularly when somebody goes up in the air and comes down and falls flat on their back. That's where you see in here in the thoracic spine. Then you have the lumbar spine right down here, and then down below that you have your coccyx. Now, if you'll notice, down here at the very bottom of the coccyx, there are, let me move this over here in the middle so everybody can see. The nerve roots stop about right here, but the bone keeps going. A lot of times when people slip, trip, and fall, and they land on their hiney, well, this is what gets broken down here, these little coccyx bones. And even though there's no nerves down there, you still have bone pain, and that can ache and hurt forever and ever and ever. So be aware of that too. So let me show you just kind of a blow up. Let me move this to one side and show you a blow up of what we're talking about. This being the cervical spine. So you can see one of these, every one of these has a joint. So if it's moved abnormally, all of this in here is disturbed. All of that is going to cause pain. And if you don't know how to look for it, and you don't realize that it's associated with the trauma that you sustained in that injury, you're not going to tell the doctor about it. If you don't tell the doctor about it, it's not documented. If the doctor hasn't documented it, it's not going to get treated. And if it's not treated, then you're not going to get compensated for it, and you're going to suffer for nothing. And I really hate to see that happen to anybody. Listen, you got to remember, the insurance company's position in every case is, if you're hurt, you're going to go to the doctor. So if you decide you don't go to the doctor, that's fine. You know, it's your choice. But remember, you are not going to get compensated for injuries that are not documented medically and not treated. Let me go one last thing here. And this is a disc. Let me move these a little bit over here like this so everybody can get a better look at it. This is a blow up of a disc. So what we have here is we have the vertebrae. That's the vertebrae. In the middle of this, this is just bone. Okay. This right here is what is the spinal cord. And you see the spinal cord represented in these models right here and right here. And then there's little areas of plastic. I don't know if it picks up, but I got this to show everybody. This is like a little sack filled with jam or jelly. And when it's pressed or moved in the wrong place, and I hope maybe we can blow this up, but if you're compressed over here like this, you can see how the material, it's called the pulposa. HNP is a term for the injury. It's called a herniated nucleus pulposa, but that's what it looks like. And if you see right over here up against the nerve and the nerve root, if this is abnormally pressed, you can see that little bubble come out. I hope that comes out. Let me pull this back here. Let me see, maybe we can get a good shot of it. But that comes out like that, and you can see that rubs up against the nerve root and the spinal cord. Now, what does that do? Well, that interrupts the flow of the electrical impulses between your brain and where the spinal cord goes, because that carries the messages, say, to your arm or to your leg, and that interrupts that. And so now that process in your body doesn't work like it's supposed to. So that's what we mean. Now, this right here where it comes out, some radiologists will call that a bulge. Some will call it a protrusion. If you get a bubble like that where it's coming out and pushing up against something, sometimes a radiologist will call that a bulge. Others will call that a protrusion. And then if it totally ruptures and everything comes out, that's when you really have problems, because there's nothing really that they can do with that. You can do conservative therapy, but typically if you've ruptured a disc, the only thing that they can do is they come in and they surgically remove this material right here, and they come in with cadaver bone and put it in between the two discs. Yeah, and that's called a fusion. And we see a lot of these. They don't show up for a while because people just think, oh, it's just a back pain, and I think it'll go away. But it doesn't go away. They don't report it to the doctor until months later, which gives the insurance industry an opportunity to say, that wasn't caused by the wreck. We're sorry you're hurt. We didn't do it. We're not responsible for it, and we're not going to pay. We hear that kind of language every day, which is why we get the evidence of the wreck, and so we can prove the mechanism of the collision. Because remember, that force had to go somewhere, and it doesn't just disappear. It goes into your body here, goes into your body here, goes into your body here, and it will cause you problems. And if you don't get it treated and you don't get it documented, you will suffer for nothing. Please don't let that happen to yourself. So ligament laxity can happen all through the cervical spine. It can happen in the rotator cuff and in the knees. And we will get into all that in later videos. Okay, everybody, I don't want to keep everybody here all day. I hope you found this informative. Remember, we love helping people. We would love to talk to you about your case. And if you want to talk to us about your case, you can follow this link right here, and you can begin that process. Or if you're an impatient person like I am, you can pick up the phone and call me right now at 888-WE-FIGHT. It's a nationwide number. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We never close. Our motto is, if you're hurting, we're working. So pick up that phone and call me. We'll be happy to look at your case and happy to tell you what we think we can do to help you get. I'm not trying to get you a fair settlement. I want to get you an outrageous settlement. So pick up the phone and call me now. Again, my name is John Michael Bailey. I'm with the John Michael Bailey Injury Lawyers. Thank you so much for listening. And listen, we're trying to keep that grumpy old man named Algorithm happy. So please like, subscribe, share this video, call your friends, send them emails, send them smoke signals, Morse code, semaphore flags, whatever. Just spread the word. We want to try to get this information out to everybody. So if you hear my voice, I wish you peace and joy. And as always, I hope to talk to everybody real soon. 888-WE-FIGHT.